Maybe this is you. You have been really struggling to find discipline in your life. You've just struggled to bring yourself to do it. You just struggled to really push yourself to get the work that you need to done. Or maybe you are someone who feels really physically weak or unconfident. So you get bullied a lot and then people make fun of you. You don't really feel like if someone attacked you or someone important to you, you could defend yourself. Martial arts have actually been practiced for thousands of years. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't look into this. In my personal experience, it's incredible. Why? It's difficult. It's hard. That's probably the biggest reason why it's so incredible. So for me, I've been boxing for a while, and I can tell you that it is very difficult. There are a lot of long, difficult things you just have to really work through. But I think that's what kind of makes me love it so much, is that it's so difficult. There's so much to learn. And on the topic of difficult things, I think within the self-improvement space, not arbitrarily, but in general, that I think a lot of things that are just difficult and hard to do are the things that you grow from. I don't think smashing your head against the wall is a good way to improve your life because it's hard. I mean, it would be really painful and you would have to become mentally tougher to deal with the pain, but I don't think that's the best way to approach it. But what I am talking about is those really difficult hobbies, ideas, subjects. You do them and then you grow a lot because they're just so difficult. There's so much to learn. And I think in self-improvement, there is this space where you really need this. I've only been thinking of this recently, so I haven't really refined this idea, but boxing, for example, is great because fundamentally there isn't too much, the number of punches, the number of different unique punches is actually pretty low. You could probably learn all of them within your first few times trying it. But to make them perfect, to make them effective, to make your punches strong, to make sure you don't fall over, to make sure you learn your head movement, to make sure your footwork is as good as it could possibly be. That is what takes time. You have to really refine those details and specifically look for mistakes such that you can improve them over time. So you need a really good amount of attention to detail. And because you need such a high attention to detail, that is when you start to really learn attention to detail in other aspects of your life. You become more conscious and mindful of mistakes that you make when you are in, the workplace, for example, right? You work your job, become more mindful of how you can improve, how you can do better. Or when you speak to people, you learn how to improve speaking. Because you'll make a mistake, and then you'll be like, oh, that's a mistake. But then you just try it again, and you notice, hey, I got better. When you're conscious of these little details, you can really learn and grow. So your coach will tell you, they'll critique you a lot. They'll tell you, oh, yeah, can you do this better? Oh, make sure you're turning your foot, or make sure you don't cross your feet, or make sure you always include some movement of your head, you're always staying loose, something along those lines, right? But you'll just forget. You'll be in the middle of an important session and you'll just forget, and your coach will remind you, and you have to just place the habit, build the habit, and you need a lot of attention to detail. I think part of the reason that you actually learn discipline is not because you have to show up pretty frequently, you have to train often and training is painful. I don't think that's the reason why. I think it's because the amount of attention to detail that you need and the time that you spend doing it is sometimes it can be a little aggravating. Getting something so incredibly wrong every time, always having something to improve. It's a good thing in the context of self-improvement, but there's almost this dissatisfaction. And some people it could put them down, right? They might think, oh, I'm making 10 billion mistakes and everyone's watching me and I look stupid. So then they kind of lose interest because they feel insecure about it. But a disciplined person, which is what you kind of learn, is a disciplined person would take action by realizing they're making these mistakes, being mindful of them, and not thinking of them necessarily as obviously they think of them as failures, but they don't think of them in such a negative way. They think of them as things that can and will be fixed. But this aspect of discipline can really only come from you. No one else can motivate you enough to do it. You just have to do it yourself. When you try this, do not just rely on someone else to teach you to be disciplined, right? You just have to learn it yourself. Another reason that people learn martial arts, which I think is valuable, if there's a lot of violence around you, this could be useful. You'll learn about self-defense. This is actually one of the biggest reasons that people try doing a martial art, is because they feel like they're getting bullied by, maybe you're at school and you're getting bullied, like some kid who's like stronger than you physically. Even if he doesn't know how to fight, he's just stronger than you. He can just grab you and throw you around. Had you learned a bit of boxing, for example, then you would find it easier and all your problems go away. I think what people mix up is that it's not about going out on the street and fighting a bunch of people for fun, right? Obviously, you're not going to do that. And no one does that because they know how to box. But anyways, it helps you feel more safe, more confident, because not that you're going to go around beating people up, but like if it came down to it, someone's attacking you or someone's attacking someone important to you, you would be able to protect you or this other person, right? You can do something about it if need be. But again, I think the larger value comes from self-improvement, learning attention to detail. You become more dedicated to your craft. You become more dedicated to one thing, really trying to improve it, focusing on every little thing such that you can grow in that particular discipline. And then you also become pretty picky. I think there is this narrative where it's like 20% of the effort gets you 80% of the results. Like, yes, it's better to do something than nothing, which I think is the main message of it. I also don't think it's a bad thing to pursue more than 20%, get diminishing returns, and be picky. Like, be really picky about the work that you're doing. Now, obviously, if you're limited on time, you only have, an hour to complete a task, right? You're going to do the most important things first. Get 80% of those results within the least amount of time, because you're limited on the amount of time that you have. If you are not limited by the amount of time that you have, getting that extra 20%, which I think it's more than 20%, is always worth it. Pretty much always worth it. Now, this doesn't mean you focus on the small things. You always focus on the big, more important tasks first before doing the smaller things. So an example of this, if you are a student and you have like a big test tomorrow, and then you have like a pretty like medium-sized project due next week, obviously you're going to focus on the test first, right? Because you got to do well on the test. Whereas with the other project, you would have the rest of the week after the test to work on it, right? The test is more immediate and requires more attention. So you could actually just put 100% into the test and then 0% into the project. That's an example of where I think being picky and being particular about how you spend your time, getting more than 80% of the results is really important. I think most importantly of all, though, this is less about attention to detail, but more about the cycle of failure to success. So you start off, martial arts really gives you a framework of how you can improve at anything. So one of the things you will do when you are trying to improve is you will fail, no matter what you do. The first time you try something, you probably not get it right? Like if you're trying to throw a hook, right? So you throw your left hook, and your coach is like, oh, stop swinging your arm out so much. You gotta get more power off the ground by rotating and by pushing off your leg, or something along those lines. You have to fail and then realize you failed and then make that connection and then fix it. You'll probably fail it a few times until you start fixing it. During that example, throwing the hook, and then your coach is like, good job, you improved it a bit, and then you'll go home, and then the next time you try it, you'll probably fail again. Like, you probably won't have it exactly perfect or how your coach wants you to do it. So you'll need to practice it again, and then learn it again, and then become better at it, and that's how you get it. Just improve one thing at a time until you really understand how to do it. So this is pretty similar to meditation. Like, the first time you ever do it, you're only going to do it for like a minute maybe, or a couple minutes, and you'll probably lose focus a lot. But you have to practice bringing yourself back into the present moment. And then once you've done that, you completed a rep, basically. Over time, you will be able to really realize where you commonly lose focus, like what kind of thoughts, how you feel in those thoughts. Maybe they're driven by like a particular emotion. You recognize that pattern, and it makes you more efficient at meditating, so you become better at it. I think I've spent a lot of the time talking about how not even the martial art itself, like the things that you learn in the martial art, like the skill, and then the idea behind the skill, and then applying that idea into your own life. My advice, if you are someone who wants to try it, The first thing you can do is take an actionable step. Just sign up for your first class. And I think a lot of people don't know this. You can actually just try it. You don't need private lessons or to buy all this junk, do a bunch of things that are just not the job. Actionable step. Just sign up for your first class today. Okay? I hope you hold me to it. I hope I've convinced you that you can learn a lot from doing these classes, taking these lessons, learning, building up your capacity as a human. So some common things people will ask is like, oh, well, how do I know which martial art I should try? Which one should I try first? Or, which one is the best? I think this is not really that good of a question, because how am I supposed to answer for you? Anyways, my advice would be try all of them, or try them all until you find one that you like. So a lot of these gyms will offer one free trial to a beginner class, and they'll be like, oh, you can have like 1 week free, one class, or you could do like one free trial class just to see if you like it, right? And they do this to increase the amount of customers that they get, right? Or maybe they'll offer you like a pretty reduced price, like a third of the normal price, right? Just so you can try it, just so you can decide if you actually like the sport. And then this is where I would say just try it. Like, find your nearest boxing gym and say, hey, can I try this? Okay, it's free, great. And if you like it, then keep going. If you don't like it, I don't recommend going back. If you don't find it fun and fulfilling, then there's no point in doing it. Just try a different martial art, even a different sport, I guess. You just have to keep trying them until you find one you really like. Because if you really like it, you'll continue doing it and you'll actually want to do it. And if you don't like it, then don't bother continuing with it. It's not worth it. If you don't like it, you're just not going to enjoy doing it, and thus you will not continue to do it. You'll just break the habit. Okay,